Welcome back to Charlottesville. Terry Gannon, Tim Brandt, Lewis Johnson. The Clemson Tigers with a 17-6 lead over the Virginia Cavaliers, and it was mistake-ridden first half for Virginia. Really the keys. After an early fumble, Raymond Priester for Clemson goes 15 yards to the end zone. And then the other key play in the first half, Timmy, and uncharacteristically coming from Tiki Barber, deep in his own territory. The punt hitting him up on the shoulder pad, and Clemson recovering at the 1-yard line.
All 17 of Clemson's points have come after turnovers. Here is the misery index, if you want it, from Virginia. 3 turnovers, 5 sacks, 1 missed field goal, 3 penalties for Virginia. And look what's happened at halftime.
The misery index for the fans.
The front has come through, and here in the shadow of Monticello, it's starting to snow and the wind is blowing, and I'll tell you, Mr. Jefferson's University is now covered in coldness.
Anything but genteel weather here in Charlottesville. Back deep, Joe Woods along with Sam Zanders. Clemson won the opening toss. They elected to defer, so they'll receive the kickoff of Rafael Garcia, who was 2 for 3 in the first half. He missed a 39-yard field goal.
That wind is going to be a factor. It is really gusting right now. And if that continues the rest of the half, it's going to be a factor in the ballgame.
Clemson will have it at their back in the fourth quarter. It's Woods at his own 8-yard line. Back to the near side, had room, and up to the 28-yard line. So Clemson will start their first possession in the second half right there. Look at these halftime stats, and we'll take you down to the total yards. 227 for Virginia, 89 for Clemson, yet Clemson on top 17-6.
That's why I've always said statistics are misleading. You know what all this means? You look at total yards, been dominated by Virginia. That means absolutely nothing. Now go to turnovers. You see the 3 turnovers. That means 17 points, and it's 17-6 Tigers.
So the Tigers take over first and 10 at the 29. First possession, first play of the second half. Priester hit right at the line of scrimmage and dumped there. He might have fallen ahead for 1. Jamie Sharper made the initial contact.
Terry, keep in mind, Virginia ended the first half with points. They had a nice drive, moved right down the field against Clemson, and got a field goal. They went in at halftime, and George Welsh and his staff, Tom O'Brien, Rick Lance, those guys are masterminds at making adjustments during halftime. Great game coaches, and I assure you they have made some changes.
Here's another thing to think about. Clemson has struggled in the third quarter this year. They've been outscored 63-17 in the third. Priester right at the line of scrimmage again, and a swarming Cavalier defense stops him there. Let's go very quickly down to Lewis Johnson. Lewis?
Terry, it may be cold and blustery out here, but it was extremely hot in the Virginia locker room. George Welsh was livid about one simple thing: execution. There were just a couple of plays that they blew, gave the ball to Clemson, and they scored on it. He wants better execution here in the early part of the second half.
You know, Lewis, I think he's going to get it, too, because you can already feel the change and see it just the way the players are bouncing around defensively.
George Welsh, the all-time winningest coach in ACC history, second in terms of ACC wins to Frank Howard. Nealon Green complete out to midfield. And a big third down conversion for the Clemson Tigers.
Boy, how about that? That ball was thrown with authority by Nealon Green.
Kenya Crooks on the catch and a gain of 19.
Boy, Crooks is 6'3", 208 pounds. He's got at least 1 catch in every game this year. Not much of a move that time, but enough to get Rowe just to hesitate and fall back on his heels for a second. And the ball was waiting for him by the sidelines. I think what's impressive about him is he averages 15 yards every time he makes a catch.
Crooks, the freshman record a couple of years ago in terms of receptions, 21, and he struggled a bit last year. Raymond Priester ahead for 1, maybe 2.
Talked about how Virginia's defense, you can see the guys bouncing around and playing with confidence right now, but this could take it out of them. Clemson's got a pretty good drive going here.
Well, when Virginia gets the ball back, they'll look to Tiki Barber to carry him, and he struggled in the first half, only 37 yards, which is very uncharacteristic. Trying to go to the 9th straight time in a regular season game with over 100 yards in an ACC record. A ways to go, though, for Tiki. 2nd and 7 at the 47. The pitch to Priester. Tough running to the 46. Anthony Poindexter, the strong safety out of Forest, Virginia, met him.
Again, they took the safety Poindexter and cheated him up like a linebacker and put 9 guys up by the line of scrimmage to stop the run. They are going to still say Nealon Green, the quarterback, has to beat him as you look at what's taking place here with Ashman shaken up.
There's Poindexter, a sophomore, 4 picks on the year. And remember, this Virginia defense with 37 straight games with an interception. That's a streak unparalleled in NCAA history. They don't have one yet today. Green with a lot of time. Throws high, though. Crooks the intended receiver. And I think Nealon Green had more time than he thought. He stepped up and threw off balance.
So the defense has done its job. The defense stopped the run, forced Green to throw. And now Clemson will have to punt, so the Cavaliers are going to get the ball back. Now it's going to be up to the special teams and offense.
Kevin Laird on the punt for Clemson. Tiki Barber back at his own 11-yard line. You saw the mistake in the first half. The fumble at his own 1 on the punt. He'd like to make up for it here. Laird's punt, high and short. Takes a Clemson bounce, though. And a fair catch by Barber, so it rolls that at the 11-yard line after the fortuitous bounce. A 34-yard punt, and the Cavaliers will take over early here in the third.
Tomorrow on ABC.
Are we in the South? No, we're in Michigan for a moment. Look at the snow coming down. Tiki Barber, 18 100-yard-plus games. That's the most in Virginia history. He's got 8 in a row in terms of regular season games. Tied for the ACC record. Don McCauley, the last man to do that. Ted Brown did it for NC State as well. So he's going for number 9 to hold the record all by himself. A tough first half for him, though. He breaks one here across the 20 and near a first down at the 21-yard line. And you had a feeling that he would get it going here in the second half.
Yeah, I still have that feeling. I know he only had 37 yards in the first half, his lowest halftime rushing this season. Previous to that, it was 55 yards against Maryland. But, you know, he's a guy that you have to wrap up every play. And it is a tendency of every defense, I don't care who you are, to break down a little bit as the game goes along. You start forgetting that you've got to break down, you've got to wrap up. And so somebody's just going to throw a body block into him. He's going to break it and take it to the house.
And forget about the elements slowing him down. We saw that Texas game when he had some great runs, had 3 touchdowns right in the first quarter against the Longhorns. Here he is again across the 30, and he has another first down. So 10 yards on the first carry of the second half for Tiki Barber, and now he goes for 12.
Welcome back, Tiki Barber. This guy is for real, folks. You can't keep him down. He's an academic All-America. He's an outstanding All-American on the football field as well. The guy gives you his body, but he never gives you his total body to tackle. Just like the great ball carriers who come up and he'll meet you, he'll put some pressure on you, but then slide off of you or bounce off of you.
Darrell Medley right ahead of Tiki Barber, out of the eye. They run the reverse to Crowell, and he's got a couple of blockers, but can't use them. Still on his feet. The run out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Antoine Edwards, the strong safety, met him, but Crowell had his big tight end, Casey Crawford, right in front of him and couldn't get a block. Yeah, you're seeing Tom O'Brien at his best now, the offensive coordinator. Go with Barber, then fake to Barber and give it to Crowell coming around the outside. Now, he's 6'4", lanky, but he's got a big stride. He's got good speed. He's tough to bring down, so you get another 5 yards out of it, and you set up 2nd down and 5. Nicely done. Virginia and Clemson tied for 3rd place in the ACC. Right behind North Carolina. And, of course, Florida State on top of the standings in the league. Barber looks for room on the left side. Cuts up across the 40, maybe to the 41-yard line. A couple of yards shy of a first down. You know, most of the time you can define a guy by saying he's a speed guy. Or the guy has great balance. Or the guy has great vision. But this guy has all of those. I mean, he's an inside runner. He's an outside runner. He's a power guy with speed. He's small. He's only 5'9", 5'10". Pros list him as 5'8½". But Tiki Barber is special. And Tom O'Brien, the offensive coordinator, knows that. And because he only got 37 yards in the first half, doesn't make any difference. Tom O'Brien right there. He's going to go time and time again to his money guy, and that's Barber. Number 3 rusher in Virginia history. And he has a Cavalier first down. Had to get to the 43-yard line, get up close to the 44. You've got a great back. Why not work it? Give him the football coming out of the locker room. You know what else Tiki Barber's just done?
He's not only had 4 big carries in a row, but he's also taken the crowd and got them into the ball game. They're all starting to yell and scream now here in Virginia. He's gotten everybody back into this ball game, and it was Virginia and being very lackadaisical in that first half that cost him.
Barber again fights his way, and they can't stop him right now. He's up to the 49-yard line. He had 10 yards on his first carry, followed that up with 12, and now he gets chunks of 4 and 5. That a gain of 5.
No, it's that point now where the linebackers are starting to get cut off. Guys on the big offensive line are starting to cut the linebackers off. There's Raley. See, Raley gets a block. Lockley gets a block. Britton gets a block. Barber turns it up inside of them and picks up another 6 yards.
Brett Williams, the defensive end, making the stop, but he was 5 yards deep when he did it. So 70 yards on the day, and all of a sudden he's getting closer to that 100-yard mark.
Keep running like this, he'll have 200 tonight.
Straight drop for Sherman. Under pressure, down he goes at the 40-yard line. 3 Clemson Tigers in there. Trevor Price got there first, the 6th sack of the afternoon for the Tigers. And they had 8 a week ago against Maryland. Timmy, that was one of the question marks, this inexperienced defensive front, but they're getting better and better. Yeah,
now you watch here and you'll see number 8 coming out of the right side of your screen, and he is an outstanding player. Now, he had 10 tackles, 4 tackles for losses, and 2 sacks against Maryland last week, as you mentioned. He's a transfer from Michigan. He's a terrific player. He played in that big Colorado game in Michigan where they threw the Hail Mary.
Sure.
Wardell Stewart to Michael Westbrook.
Enough to make you transfer. 3rd and 14 after the loss of 9 on a sack. And a nice catch by Barber up to midfield, but they have to get to the 46-yard line of Clemson to move the chains. And Tiki a bit frustrated on the sidelines.
This is a terrific catch by Barber. And look at the mobility by Sherman. Avoids the rush, steps up, then finds Barber. And look at Tiki goes down and grabs it by the nose.
Well, that ball was just low enough, though, where he couldn't gather it and keep his footing. Couldn't keep his balance. Will Bryce. Look at this punt. Inside the 5. This is going to get to the end zone. A 53-yard punt by Will Bryce. He'd like to get a couple of yards back. 17-6, Clemson. The snow continues to fall here in Charlottesville, and we'll tell you that college football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And Chili's Grill and Bar, home of the Big Mouth Burgers. 7:47 left in the 3rd. They are bundled up. 50 degrees at kickoff, and not even close to that right now. The Tigers and Nealon Green, whose shoulder hasn't seemed to bother him at all today, take over at their own 20-yard line. And the pitch barely got it to Raymond Priester, who has some room on the outside, and he may have a Clemson first down. He should, across the 30 to the 31. Well, don't forget, next Saturday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, number 14 Penn State taking on Michigan, a big Big Ten game there. You all will see that. And then following that at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, folks in this region get another ACC matchup. Number 8 North Carolina taking on the same Wahoos of Virginia. That'll be a huge game in terms of the ACC standings. Those are the other games available, perhaps on pay-per-view, so call your local cable operator for those games at 3:30 Eastern next Saturday. First down at the 31. Straight ahead up to about the 37-yard line. Kelton Dunnigan on the carry. He and Emery Smith have shared that fullback spot. Smith, remember, has the bad shoulder.
I thought it was interesting talking to the defensive coordinator for Virginia, Rick Lance. He was saying, you know, they do not run a true option at Clemson. Everything is predetermined. They know who's going to get the ball before they come up to the line of scrimmage and read. But, you know, the bottom line is the defense still has to prepare for assigned defense. Somebody has to take the pitch man, somebody has to take the dive man, and somebody has to take the quarterback, so it's tough to defend.
2nd and 3 after the gain of 7. Priester with room. Bounces outside to the 45-yard line, and they'll move the chains once again. If he got by that last tackler, he was gone.
Yeah, this is fun now. You're watching 2 of the top 3 running backs in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and it's almost like they're trying to outdo each other. Now, you look at Sharper. He's the linebacker, all right? He takes on the back and then lets him get to his legs, which you should never do. And that makes for another 5 yards for Priester.
Kelton Dunnigan threw the block, and that's one of the things about Clemson that's so hard to defend. Now, you may know what they're going to do, as you mentioned a moment ago, but they've got some big backs. Dunnigan goes about 210 plus, and Priester about 230.
Yeah, he's a fullback or a tailback in a fullback's body.
The pitch to Priester across midfield to the 49 of Virginia before he stopped there by Jamie Sharper. And Joe Rowe, the cornerback and a senior out of Emporia, Virginia, in on the tackle too.
There's a look at Rick Lance, the defensive coordinator for Virginia. I've got tremendous respect for this guy. I think he's an outstanding coach, and he's an outstanding teacher. You can tell by the success that Virginia's had defensively this year. I mean, they forced 28 turnovers this year. They also have scored 106 points. I mean, now that's an offensive defense. But today, they're struggling a little bit with Clemson.
Rick Lance spent a year with the New England Patriots back in their early 80s. Dunnigan fights his way and has to get just inside the 46 for a first down. Dwayne Ashman on the stop, and we'll wait and see. Nebraska with the big win. And Colorado up big in its ball game. BYU, they tend to put a few points on the board.
Terry, Clemson knew coming into this ball game they could not be one-dimensional. The Tigers tried to break tendency today, tried to get the ball out to their wide receivers. Green is 7 of 14, 37 yards. But when all is said and done, they know the only way to win is to get Priester rolling and let him accumulate yards. And they're starting to do that.
And they really haven't had to do that all game because of field position. The turnovers by Virginia, they've had great field position, have not had to move the ball that far. This is really the first time that they've had to do that, and they're in the midst of it. Just shy of a first down, though, so it brings up 3rd and less than a yard. And a crowd of about 40,000 here at Scott Stadium, warm enough to get up out of their seats. Just barely. Dunnigan and Priester out of the eye behind Nealon Green. Dunnigan met right behind the line of scrimmage. He's not going to get there. Number 91, Todd White, the senior out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, met him first and then had help. So it brings up 4th and less than a yard, and the punting team comes out for Clemson. For Rick Lance and his defense, that's a huge play.
If plays are predetermined before they come up, occasionally you can outguess them, and if you guess right, you've stopped it. That time Rick Lance knew what they were going to do. He called the right defense, got them in position to make the stop, and they did.
4 kicks inside the 20 for Laird. Tiki Barber just outside his own 10-yard line. A low snap and a line drive kick. Barber at the 8. Nowhere to go. A lot of white jerseys surrounding him. Good coverage by the Tigers, and he brings it back to the 12-yard line. So a 37-yard punt and a 4-yard return for Tiki Barber. They'll start at their own 12-yard line.
When my grandfather served the bonsai.
This has been a terrific rivalry in the 90s, and so it was in 1992. Clemson was down by 28 points at one point. Nelson Welch's field goal lifting them to a 29-28 victory over the Cavaliers of Virginia. The greatest comeback in Clemson history. Down 28-0. And right now they are up 17-6 with 4:02 left here in the 3rd quarter, and the Cavaliers taking over at their own 12-yard line. So they're trying to hang on to one here in Charlottesville. Tiki Barber has been effective here in the second half. Squeezes through up to the 17-yard line, makes something out of nothing.
But Clemson is making him work, making Virginia work. Terry, we talked about this being a game of field position. And 7 of 9 of the Virginia drives have started inside their own 30-yard line. So Clemson's winning the field position battle, and they're also winning the game 17-6.
And the kicking game, in terms of Kevin Laird, the punter, he's had 4 inside the 25 now after that last kick. His average doesn't look all that good. It's because of the field position. He's trying to kick it inside the 10.
But if I'm Virginia, I'm still riding Tiki Barber all the way to the bank. Just give it to him as much as you can give it to him.
Well, he had 5 on that first carry. So it's 2nd and 5. And blow it dead.
Fair game, offense. 5-yard penalty.
Virginia once again hurts itself with the penalty. So again, you hate to keep mentioning it, but you can tell how frustrated George is with 3 turnovers, 5 sacks, 1 missed field goal, now 4 penalties.
So the delay pushes them back, so it'll be 2nd and 10 as they lose the 5 yards. Barber not going anywhere. And that handoff, the exchange did not look good. It wasn't real smooth from Sherman to Tiki Barber. He had no chance once he had the ball. Adrian Dingle was in the backfield in a hurry. You can see how frustrated he is, too. You can read it in his face.
Watch 52 Dingle. The first thing he does is beat the block of Walt Derry, number 87, the tight end.
He almost lost that.
Yeah, and Barber sees that, though. He sees that Dingle broke the block and came through, so he tries to change direction, and he can't on the soft field, can't get away from Dingle.
3 receivers set out of the shotgun is Sherman now on 3rd and 13. Flushed out on the run. Has some room. Across the 20, across the 30, and he's up the near sideline. Into Clemson territory and brought down at the 42-yard line by Andy Ford. On 3rd and 13, Sherman tucks it and runs for 49 yards.
You can talk about Tim Sherman all you want. You can say he's inconsistent, but he's having a terrific ball game here this afternoon. He's been throwing the ball fairly well. Here he sees everybody covered, so he takes it up, and he gains 49 yards. They move the chains. He's 11 of 19, 216 yards throwing the ball. He got pressure from Williams, still avoided that, picked up the first down and a lot more.
And Tiki Barber runs into his own man, Darrell Medley, and is brought down at the 41. Gained about 1.5 yards on first down. Well, they just didn't close the gap on Tim Sherman. It looked a couple of times like he was running out of room. May have gained the first down, but he just turned it back up for a 49-yard run. And Timmy, you can see the snow and the sleet still coming down. It's gotten even windier. Horrible conditions right now. But the wind is at the back of the Cavaliers. 2nd and 9. Play action for Sherman. Nowhere to go. At midfield, brought down by Raymond White and a couple of his friends. Brett Williams was there too. The 7th sack of the afternoon for the Clemson Tigers.
One of those situations where Timmy tried to play hide and seek, you know, get behind the big guys and hide and try to seek a crease, but there was absolutely nothing there for him. And 7 sacks against Virginia this year is incredible. But again, this comes from a team, Clemson's defense, which had 30 sacks coming into the ball game.
But Virginia has only allowed 16 sacks all year coming into this game.
I'm saying that, but Clemson, you know, was the sack master.
3rd and 16 for Sherman. Up top, Crowell overthrown, incomplete. Peter Ford was there. There's a flag on the play. It's back at the 48-yard line of Clemson on the far side. And a wet flag, I might add.
39 seconds remain in the 3rd quarter. And before you know it, time will become a factor. And now Virginia will have to change its game plan because of the time once you get down and that does become a factor. Not yet, but soon.
An eligible receiver, but Clemson will decline because that brings up 4th down and 16 for George Welch's crew. And Will Bryce, the senior out of Lancaster, South Carolina, comes on again. He's been busier than he would like today.
Bryce averages 46 yards a punt. He's had 13 inside the 20 this year.
Dexter McCleon back at his own 12-yard line. Might be tough to look up into this snow and sleet with the wind coming right at him.
Remember how McCleon came off the bench and became the quarterback and led him to Virginia over Virginia, or led him Clemson over Virginia?
Bryce with another good one to the inside. Well, that's all the way out of the end zone. Wow. This one a 48-yard punt, and again he'd like to get some of that back though.
Yeah, but he's saying, you know, hey, what am I going to do? The wind is behind me, gusting to about 20 miles an hour.
It is. Tomorrow night on ABC, it starts with an hour of America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by a brand new Lois and Clark. Then Hugh Grant and Andy McDowell star in the network premiere of 4 Weddings and a Funeral on the Sunday night movie. That is tomorrow starting at 7 Eastern time.
Funny movie.
It is. Good movie.
Great lines. British humor.
Well, the Cavalier not quite enjoying himself right now. Priester hit hard right at the line of scrimmage, ahead for 1. That's about it. So 22 seconds and counting here to the end of the 3rd quarter. Look at Priester and what he's done as compared to Tiki Barber. 83 yards and 72 yards. And 1 touchdown. That was in the 1st quarter, a 15-yard run by Raymond. And that will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. So a good one for Clemson. They still lead 17-6. We're back with more action between Clemson and Virginia after this message and a word from our ABC stations. It's out here in Charlottesville, Virginia. As you look at the stands, as we start the 4th quarter, Clemson up 17-6. Terry Gannon, Tim Brandt, Lewis Johnson on 1st down. Kenya Crooks with a catch out to the 28-yard line. About 2 yards short of a 1st down. The coverage by Rondé Barber, the twin brother of Tiki Barber. Let's go down for more on him to Lewis Johnson.
Thanks, guys. Listen, we're down here with Mrs. Barber, and a couple of surprises here. Who would have thought we'd be sitting here in the snow, and who would have thought we'd be sitting out here with Tiki in the 1st half shut out, really not gaining a lot of yards on the ground. But at halftime, you thought he'd pick it up in the 3rd quarter. What's your opinion so far?
I'm the last one who would have thought I would be sitting in the snow today. As far as Tiki's yardage, I'm not worried about it. I know that Tiki won't stop playing until the game is over. The yardage really doesn't mean that much to him. It's the game that's on the line right now.
You know, both he and Rondi have gotten a lot of attention this year, particularly Tiki in talks of the Heisman. Has he come to you and maybe asked for some advice on how to manage all the attention he's been getting?
We talked about the Heisman before the season when his name first was mentioned, and he said to me that it didn't mean a whole lot unless they were still calling his name at the end of the season. He's decided that he will give 110% throughout the season, and at the end of the year, if the voters think that he thinks that he deserves it, he will get it.
Thank you so much, Mom. Enjoy it. Let me have some of that coffee, huh?
There's only a little bit left.
Okay, I'll take it, Terry.
All right, Lewis, the 1st down gained by Nealon Green. And here is Kelton Dunnigan, a big gain up to the 45-yard line. You know, Tiki and Rondé's mom has a master's degree in business and has been a great leader for both of those young men.
She's a terrific woman, great inspiration. You're exactly right. And Tiki Barber and his brother Rondé were both 1st team all-conference and only the 3rd brother combination to do that in the same season in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Of course, Dave and Don Bucky did it at NC State in 1975 and Alan Keita Covington at Maryland in 1985. And now the Barbers.
So a gain of 8 by Dunnigan, and it brings up 2nd and 2 at the 45. Look, there he goes again. Kelton Dunnigan down to the 33-yard line. Rondé Barber, we just talked to his mother, and he just saved a touchdown.
Boy, did he ever save a touchdown, because Dunnigan was gone, and he's the kind of guy that has some speed. Now watch what happens on the right side. You've got Roundtree, you've got Postel throwing blocks for him. He breaks off that thing. Now this is a great changeup, like a pitcher in baseball from Priester, who's 6'1", 230 and doesn't have great speed. Dunnigan comes in 5'11", smaller, does have pretty good speed, and he almost took that one the distance.
A gain of 22 yards, and something surprising beginning to happen. This offensive line of Clemson starting to wear down the defense of Virginia. Raymond Priester nowhere to go this time, no. Jumped ahead for 1, but he was met by a number of Cavaliers. First by Dwayne Ashman.
I think Priester hit the wrong hole because he had Roundtree, the pulling guard, in front of him, and he actually took it wider than he should have.
Glenn Roundtree, number 75, an All-American farm team member by Successful Farming Magazine. Did you ever make that, Timmy?
No, I did not. Of course, he is. He's got that in his background. He's an agriculture major. Playing with pain today. He's got a hip pointer, a hip flexor.
Priester with 85 yards now. Play action. Green over the middle, and this one's picked off. The streak continues. Inside the 10 to the 8. Joe Rowe with the pick, the first one for the Cavaliers this afternoon, and their streak is now at 38.
Of course, the streak that you're talking about Virginia has at least one interception now in 38 straight games. And, folks, that is a new NCAA record. Take a look at this. The cornerback and the safety close down. They're running a post pattern, and Woods gets caught in between them. But Rowe comes over and makes the pick. The streak is alive. 38 straight interceptions.
Ohio State is undefeated and planning to stay that way. They invade Indiana or other great regional matchups. It's game 2 of an ABC doubleheader next Saturday.
Now Joe Rowe with his second interception of the year, and that extends the string to 38 consecutive games that the Cavaliers have intercepted a pass. And maybe more important than that, the fact that just into this fourth quarter and trailing 17-6, that could be a big turnaround. Turnovers have played a huge part in this game, but they've been the turnovers of Virginia to this point. Tiki Barber trying to find a hole, can't really find one.
Clemson closed the door on Tiki Barber that time, but I think you're right, Terry. I think that is big. That's the first turnover for Clemson today, that interception. And when we talked to Tommy West and his coaches earlier in the week, Darryl Moody, and they said the #1 key for us against Virginia is do not turn the ball over. Then they got into we have to run the football effectively and, you know, so on and so forth. But the very first thing they said is we cannot turn the ball over. And there it is, that first pick of the game. Just seems to set the stage for that guy, doesn't it? Tiki Barber
comes in motion to the near side now. On the roll is Sherman. He's under pressure. Throws. He's got Barber out of the backfield. Still up. Across the 30. He's got room up the near sideline and pushed out at the 46 by Peter Ford. His 4th catch of the afternoon. Is the second leading receiver on this Wahoo club. And a gain of 34.
Yeah, he is definitely the guy. He's the playmaker. He's the one that's going to win or lose ball games at Virginia. You get to him as many times in as many ways as you possibly can. So this time they put him out in the flat. Ford misses the tackle. Then all of a sudden they've got to close down. Here comes Peter Ford to help out his brother. He knocks him out of bounds. But again, you want to get the ball to Tiki Barber any way you can.
A couple of pairs of twins. The Tiki Barber, Rondé Barber combination, and the Fords in the secondary for Clemson. Screen back to the near side. There's a flag. Anthony Southern down to the 33. We'll see what the flag is all about. It's at the 44-yard line of Virginia. Cheerleaders may look happy, but well, it goes against Clemson. Tim Sherman stood there expecting the worst, but a good break for George Welch's club.
Hey, I want you to watch this play again and just watch the white jerseys and number 21 in blue. All right, Tiki Barber 21 goes to the right. All the white jerseys go that way. This play perfectly set up. Then throw back to Southern 25, and there's only one white jersey back there. And they pick up the first down and move the chains. That time they used Tiki Barber as the decoy, and it worked.
Well, even though a lot have left because of the weather, this is as loud as it has gotten. They sense something good is happening here with 10:51 left in the game. Brian Owen in motion to the far side. The pitch to Barber. He wants to throw it. And no one there. And luckily for Virginia, there was no one in a white shirt either.
And then the smart analyst will sit back and say, now there's the All-American. What a great play, because he threw it away.
Hey, don't forget, if time permits, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report featuring scores and highlights from across the country.
See, everybody was covered, so Tiki just threw it away. That's
smart play, right? Well, he was going for Brian Owen, and he was held up. He tried to get out there.
And other guys will say, hey, Tiki's got a strong arm. That's the good news. The bad news is overthrew his receiver by 45 yards.
Tiki straight ahead inside the 30 to the 28-yard line, bouncing around. And Raymond White wrapped him up there. He's about 4 or 5 yards short of a first down. And it brings up third. There's Raymond White, the junior out of Clinton, Mississippi, having his best year as a Clemson Tiger. And this defense getting better and better. They've won 3 in a row, but last week against Maryland and now against Virginia, they've really played well. They could come up with a big stop here. 3rd and 5. Sherman out of the gun. Under pressure. With room to run. He's got a first down for Virginia and more. To the 13-yard line. We saw him run for 49. on their last drive, and this time he takes it 17 yards down to the 12.
He's hurt, though. He went down on his shoulder very, very hard. The collarbone and shoulder area on the left side was just pinned to the ground, and a lot of weight came down on top of him. Again, a smart play. Everybody's covered, so he tucks it away and picks up good yardage. But watch him go down now. He tries to get that extra yardage. Now watch the shoulder. Here's his left shoulder. He goes down in a funny position, and then he gets hit from behind by Price, and Price comes down with a lot of weight on top of it. He's 280 pounds. Just hit in a funny way. Now here's the good news for Virginia. Not that Timmy's hurt, but that Aaron Brooks, who's a young quarterback and short on experience, but Tom O'Brien, the offensive coordinator, he tried to get him into games every single time they played. Now, he picked his spots, didn't want to expose him to bad situations, but did want to get him some experience along the way, and he's done that. He was an outstanding high school player. He was nominated for the McDonald's High School All-American basketball team, so he's a terrific athlete all the way around. But he has played in every game. George Welsh, Tom O'Brien have made sure of that.
And much like Sherman has done today, Aaron Brooks can run with the football. He's got 3 touchdowns on the ground this year. We saw him in the Georgia Tech game play very well.
But of course, the big concern now is for Tim Sherman, and everybody in this entire Scott Stadium has gotten very quiet all of a sudden.
And that's exactly what Sherman is reaching for, that left collarbone region.
You know, we've given all the credit with the quarterbacks to Tom O'Brien and George Welsh, but another one, Joe Krivak, who's the quarterback coach. Of course, he was the head coach at the University of Maryland and coached some great quarterbacks there, like Stan Gelbaugh and Frank Reich, Boomer Esiason, and Mike Tice. And he has coached both Tim Sherman and Aaron Brooks. And Joe Krivak, a terrific coach. But here it is again. This was the end of the play, and you can watch it's a little bit awkward now. See, he tries to get by Edwards, number 1, and when he does that, he turns sideways with his lower part of his body. The upper body stays pretty square, and then all of a sudden Price falls down on top of him with 280 pounds and a lot of velocity.
So Sherman up and walking off. See his numbers, 271 yards in the air. He's had a heck of a game. And he's had some big runs, including that one on 3rd down.
Looks like he might have had pins and needles in there because he's taking that left hand and working it in and out, trying to get the feeling and maybe get those pins and needles out of there. I think he just told George Welsh, hey, coach, I'm fine. So he'll sit out a play, and then I think he wants to get back in there.
Yeah, he was moving that left arm around just fine on the sideline. But Aaron Brooks in right now, the sophomore out of Newport News, Virginia. 1st down at the 12-yard line. Medley and Barber out of the eye.
He's capable, but you're always worried about the exchange with a new quarterback.
The hand to Barber inside the 10, may have gotten to the 9. So they go with their star, which George Welsh really did to start this second half. Let's go very quickly down to Lewis Johnson for an update.
As I'm standing about 15 yards behind Tim Sherman, he's flexing his hands left and right. The doctors are making sure he's got feeling in that left hand. He's shaking it. He wants to go back in, but they want to check him out and make sure he's okay.
All right, Lewis brings up 2nd and 8 for the Cavaliers now on the 10-yard line. Brooks on the roll to the near side. He can run it. But not this time. Caught from behind by Trevor Price. And he lost a couple.
Well, I've got to tell you, Trevor Price is having an excellent year. He's coming off a super game against Maryland, but this guy is 6'6", 280 pounds, and watch him chase Brooks down from behind. 6'6", long stride, and he's gaining on Brooks. And Trevor Price makes the tackle. Talk about athletic skills.
It's pretty good speed at 280.
Oh, my.
Tim Sherman on the sideline. Looks like he's ready to go back in. He just the nod of the head. He says he's ready.
You're right, Terry. I'm ready.
3rd and 10 out of the shotgun to Crowell. Incomplete. He was there. And Brooks can't believe that he overthrew his receiver.
Boy, and I'll tell you something else. George Welsh just threw his hat. George Welsh was furious. He knew he had an opportunity there to get the ball 1-and-1 to his wide receiver Crowell, and he was overthrown as Sherman comes back into the ball game now.
Good to see that he's okay. It brings up 4th and 10, and Rafael Garcia comes on for George Welsh to attempt a 30-yard field goal. And it was 2 for 3 in the first half. Little chip shot for him right through the upright. So Virginia with another field goal, and they gain even more ground on the Clemson Tigers. It is 17-9. College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Chrysler and the cab forward sedans of Chrysler. What's new in your world? Transamerica, the power of the pyramid, is working for you. Energizer, still going. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going and going and going. And Marriott Hotels, Resorts, and Suites, we believe when you're comfortable, you can do anything. Well, the snow has stopped here in Charlottesville. It's still chilly, and the wind is still blowing. But now Virginia, Timmy, within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion of Clemson with 8:08 left in this one.
Yeah, and that is the point. That field goal got them within a touchdown and 2. And, of course, that drive came after the interception. We talked about Clemson finally turned the ball over, and these guys in blue, the Cavaliers, capitalized.
10 plays, 78 yards, and 3:51 off the clock. Sam Sanders at his own 13. Looks for room. And out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. And let's step away and check in with John Saunders in New York. John?
Well, Terry, it's time for the Burger King College Football Play of the Day. And it's UCLA against Washington State. A little trickery. Cade McNown hands off to Skip Hicks, who gives it back to Jim McElroy, who tosses it into double coverage, but it's caught by Danny Farmer. 38 yards on the touchdown, 28-7 Bruins. Back to you, Terry.
All right, John, thanks. 8:02 left. And Clemson up 17-9. The Tigers taking over at the 26-yard line. Dunnigan and Priester out of the eye. Kelton Dunnigan straight ahead to the 32, maybe up to the 33-yard line. Wally Rayner, the middle linebacker, made the stop. Well, other action in the ACC today as you look at North Carolina State with a win over Duke, and Florida State keeps rolling 44-7 over Wake Forest, and the Heels pull one out against Louisville 28-10. They are the 8th ranked team in the country. Virginia and Clemson, of course, tied for 3rd place in the ACC. Virginia with a chance with a win here and a win against North Carolina to finish 2nd. Clemson more likely trying to finish 3rd. They need a win here today to do this, and of course the bowl bursts at stake as well. Priester still up across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Boy, he has been tough to bring down, along with Kelton Dunnigan out of that Clemson backfield. 2 running plays, a first down, 7:16 to play. Clemson starting to melt the clock. You see what Clemson has left. 2 games they feel they should be able to win. NC State and South Carolina, both at home in Death Valley. And for Virginia, of course, if they lose here, you know, that doesn't really help them a whole lot. You know, because then they go against North Carolina and they'll say, oh, what could have been? And then, of course, they end with a great rivalry with Virginia Tech down in Roanoke, or Blacksburg to be more specific. That game next week against North Carolina, we can catch it right here on ABC at 3:30 Eastern time. Will be a great one. Dunnigan with a lot of room and a foot race to the end zone. Will Barber get him? No. Touchdown, Clemson. 54 yards to the end zone. Do you believe that? Do you believe it? Again, we talk about the changeup with Dunnigan comes in, has a little bit more speed than does Priester. Priester's more of a bang back. Here comes your explosive back. Now, I want you to watch from behind and watch the linebackers of Virginia, because Dunnigan splits them. First of all, look what they get up front, the blocking, and then it's almost as if James Ferrier, 42, ran himself out of the play. Dunnigan saw the split, took it. There was nobody in the secondary because they were cheating the safety Poindexter back up, and he took it the distance. Hadget on for the extra point. Hooks it through, and it makes it 24-9 with 6:47. A huge touchdown by Kelton Dunnigan. It was supposed to be the Priester Barber show, but Kelton Dunnigan has crashed the party. He's got 105 yards on 9 carries, the 54-yard touchdown that may have been the backbreaker for Virginia.
Take a look. I'll tell you why that play worked. Look at the top of your screen. There's a pitch man fake. And that's where Ferrier, 42, the linebacker, went, took that pitch, went wide, and then Dunnigan just came underneath of him. I'll tell you, their option play may be predetermined, but it is still very hard to read.
You still have to defend it. You're right. And you have to put a man on a man. And Ferrier went to the pitch man that time. Wilkins deep along with Thomas Jones at the 10-yard line. And Padgett's kick sending Wilkins back to the end zone. He's going to bring it out. Tripped up at the 18-yard line. Nice play by O.J. Childress, the linebacker, and a long way to go for the Cavaliers. Don't forget, Monday night, Barry Sanders and the Lions travel to San Diego. They'll try to unplug the Chargers on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. That's Monday night at 9 Eastern, right here on ABC. 6:43 left in this one.
Of course, in that Monday night game, you see one of the great Cavaliers, Herman Moore.
Yep. Great receivers in ACC history. The rollout, Sherman to Darrell Medley, the fullback. First catch for him on the afternoon across the 25, knocked down at the 26-yard line.
Time is definitely a factor now as far as Virginia is concerned. With 6.5 minutes to play, now they need 2 touchdowns. And they've got to work quickly. They've got to stay in a hurry up, and they've got to get away a little bit from Tiki Barber and now start throwing the ball more.
And they're really not that type team. You know, they work off of Barber, and anything they get in the air is off of Tiki's presence. Complete across the 30 out to the 37-yard line, though. That's the tight end Casey Crawford, his second catch of the afternoon. Well, it's been a good rivalry in the 90s, and Clemson with a couple of big wins. They've beaten a top 20 Virginia team 2 of the last 4 meetings, and of course Virginia ranked number 15 right now.
Well, certainly you talked about the one in 1992 where Clemson was down 28-0, came back and won 29-28. Then in 93 they defeated Virginia 23-14.
Throw back to Wilkins. Gets a block from Crowell, but out to the 47. That's it. So a gain of about 8. 5:34 and counting, just short of a first down. So the clock runs.
Yeah, Virginia's moving the football effectively, but the clock is continuing to move and move fast.
Touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and another touchdown is what the Cavaliers need. Sherman can run it.
Out of bounds.
Not this time, though. And a good decision.
Yeah, Timmy Sherman really is poised. He's a smart guy. Gets the right checks. And that time he was smart to get out of bounds. Stops the clock with 5:12 left. But see, there's got to be more of a sense of urgency with the Cavaliers. I mean, they've got to get up and out of the huddle. They've got to get up to the line of scrimmage. They've got to start working the sidelines a little better. And you've got to be looking for the big guy, Jermaine Crowell, number 17. I mean, there's your 6'4" ace.
He's wide to the far side right now.
And don't forget Tiki Barber as a receiver.
3rd and 1. Barber hit at the line of scrimmage. Forward progress may have gotten him there. We'll see, though.
He's going to be close. I don't know if he got it or not, which would waste another play, meaning they would have to get the go for it on 4th and get the first before they could start working the clock again.
He was met hard by Mon Wilson, the junior linebacker out of Tupelo, Mississippi. And you see some of the other scores from around the country. UCLA with the lead. He is just shy of a first down. Now the length of your fingertip. It's about as close as you're going to get.
Yeah, and that's significant in that they have to go for another play to get the first before they can start working the clock again. In other words, they can't go to the sidelines here. They've got to go straight to middle, quarterback sneak, or give it to Tiki and get that first down. And they're going to go under the 5-minute mark.
And Clemson bunches at the line of scrimmage. Sherman keeps it, falls ahead. I think he got it. All he needed was an inch. And the clock, of course, will stop as they move the chains.
So now they're down to 4:54. Now they can start working the sidelines a little better and go back to the passing game.
And they will measure.
Yeah, if he made it, he didn't make it by much. That's what they're telling you here about bringing out the chains. tell you this, depending on the mark, if he didn't get it, you can put this one in the bank.
Well, there's no question he went ahead at least a little bit. Oh, yeah. By a good foot.
Yeah, again, I'm a big believer that you just follow your lineman and you let the quarterback get it right here. You don't want to risk a handoff. You don't want to waste time, you know, letting a play develop, getting it to Tiki Barber. Just let Tim Sherman do it. He's right there. All he has to do is lean forward.
Play action on first down. Crowell, you mentioned him, the catch at the 23-yard line. He went up in the air, and the 6'4" receiver outleaped Dexter McCleon and Andy Ford.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't go away from these guys. I'd stay with Tiki Barber in the pass, and I'd go with Crowell. Crowell is 6'4", working against defensive backs that are 5'10". There's a mismatch. All you have to do is put it up and let him go get it.
You mentioned Herman Moore, and that was one of his idols. Coming to Virginia. Love to watch him play, playing more and more like him now. The throw back to Wilkins, coming near side, inside the 10 to the 9.
Now the clock will stop while they move the chains. Sherman's got to get the play from the sideline, get everybody else ready, so when they reset the ball, he's ready to go.
So it'll be 1st and goal just inside the 10. And actually they placed the ball right on the 10. So 1st and goal. 4:28 and now counting. Out of the gun. To the end zone. Contact.
Interference.
And flags come down. No question about it. It was Andre Carter, the backup strong safety, who was there, and they were pushing and shoving the entire way.
It's a situation where those defensive backs know the same thing we do. There's a mismatch with a 6'4" guy going against a 5'10" guy. And so they're going to do everything to gain an advantage. They know they're going to have to use the bump and grind on it. Now you watch. Here comes the pass. Already they know they're beaten, and they're pushing and shoving down there. There's no question there's interference. That's a 1st and goal
from the 2-yard line now. There's 4:21 left in the game.
Plenty of time.
Both teams have 3 timeouts.
Plenty of
complement of timeouts left. Medley and Barber in the eye. Tiki just short. Down to the 1. O.J. Childress tripped him up. So you've got 2nd and goal from the 1. The crowd getting a little antsy because precious seconds are ticking off the clock.
Yeah, I'm confused as to why they're taking so much time here. Now they're going under the 4-minute mark.
And they go to the full huddle. Anthony Southern and Tiki Barber now out of the eye. Play action, and Sherman's going to be dropped at the 10-yard line. Andy Ford got him there. The 8th sack of the afternoon, and this one the biggest.
And the clock continues to move. George Welsh is beside himself. He can't believe that they let that much time go off the clock, and then they screwed up the play. Have to call a timeout with 3:39 left.
Timmy, there was no one there to throw it to.
He was looking for the tight end, but Derry got caught coming off the line of scrimmage. He stumbled, he was hit, and there was nobody to go to.
Now, George Welsh upset, and I think for the reason that you mentioned, they just took too much time getting to the line of scrimmage a number of times. So a 3rd and goal from the 9 coming up. 3rd and goal from the 9 for Virginia. These 2 plays may define the season for Tommy West and George Welsh. They're tied for 3rd place in the ACC. And Clemson with the 24-9 lead with 3:39 left in the game. Tim Sherman out of the shotgun. Throws far side, complete to Derry, the tight end. He's brought down at the 4-yard line. Dexter McCleon on the coverage, and the clock continues to run. 3:30 and under.
I'd go to Crowell. I'd put it high and let Crowell go up for a jump ball.
And time continuing.
Well, there's still plenty of time, but I'm just amazed at how much time Virginia allows to go off the clock in between plays.
Tiki Barber now not in the game. You've got Darrell Medley, the fullback, in there next to Sherman, who dropped the football. Trying to get to the end zone. And he gets there. Touchdown, Virginia. What an effort by Tim Sherman to get to the end zone. Timmy, it looked like he was stopped at about the 3-yard line, and now he's hurt again.
Now, Virginia, as you look at Tim Sherman injured, Virginia needs 2 twos to win the game in regulation. But you're playing at home. So all you really want to do is play to get into overtime this year at home. So what George Welsh is saying, we're going for 1, and then we'll come back and get the 2 to get into overtime.
Watch the effort by Sherman, though. First, the low snap, and now it looks like he stopped at about the 3.
You watch the tackle, though. The actual tackler actually throws him into the end zone. Watch this. Boom. Great effort. Strength out of the legs. If you look at the number 47 for Clemson trying to hold him in, that was Howard Bartley. Bartley was trying to hold him in the field of play, and it was Timmy Sherman trying to force against that. It actually lunged him into the end zone.
Yeah, and Andy Ford and Bartley had a hold of him, but Bartley looked like his momentum carried him in, and Sherman's still down. Now remember, not only is Tim Sherman much needed in terms of the quarterback spot, but he's the holder on extra points. And George Welsh apparently will go for the 1. Sherman was shaken up earlier in this quarter.
Keep in mind, by going for the 1 here, if they score the touchdown again, they're going to go for the 2, have to go for the 2 to get it into overtime. But he'll worry about that then. Right now, let's get the 1 up on the board that they need with 3 minutes to play in the game. Again, with the rules this year, the way they are, overtime still a very real thing now. You're playing at home, you want to just get into overtime, and Timmy Sherman again comes off. Again, I think he was looking originally for Crowell, but the low snap, he didn't have any time, so here he runs it inside of 5. Now watch 47, Bartley's trying to hold on to him and keep him in the field. He fights against that and lunges into the end zone. Terrific play, second effort to get in there.
And now they line up for the extra point. Will Thompson will be the holder in place of Sherman, a backup quarterback. And Garcia's extra point up and good, and obviously very critical, because now they trail by 8. And with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, they can send this to overtime. 3 minutes left in the 4th here in Charlottesville.
We've been going.
Next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time, there's your lineup of regional college football games on ABC, and everyone in this region will see Leon Johnson and North Carolina go against the Virginia Cavaliers and Tiki Barber. Only the second time in ACC history that you've got 2 3,000-yard rushers going head-to-head, and that will be a big, big game right here in Charlottesville.
3 minutes left, 24-16 Tigers. Virginia, the home team, has 2 timeouts left. They want to get the ball back, score, go for 2 to get it in overtime. Meanwhile, Clemson wants to just melt the last 3 minutes here, and to do that, they need to have a couple of first downs and hold on to the football.
Antoine Edwards, you saw him, number 1, back deep at the 15-yard line. But Clemson doesn't expect him to get the football. You've got the hands club right at the 45. And expecting the onside kick. 3 minutes left. Garcia set, and he kicks it away. Edwards going back to his own 3. Clemson surprised by the deep kick. And out to the 15-yard line. Are you surprised?
I'm a little bit surprised, but by the alignment, they had 1 guy back. They saw the opportunity to get Clemson backed up inside the 15 with good coverage, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, here's your season. If you're George Welsh, Rick Lance, the defensive coordinator for Virginia, needs a big stop by his defense right now. 2:56 left. Clemson leading 24-16. And in the second half especially, the Tigers have been able to run the football over the Virginia defense. Dunnigan and Priester out of the eye. They give it to Dunnigan, who's got a career-high 105 yards on the afternoon. Not much of a gain.
Virginia does not take one of their 2 timeouts here. They're just getting off the ball, get back lined up with 2:45 to play.
And the Cavaliers with 2 timeouts.
When they do take that timeout, they'll have to do it quickly. Rick Lance saying now, if you stop them this next play, take the tee, take the timeout. And you have to do it immediately.
Second and 7 from the 18. Green, the pitch to Priester. Straight up ahead, still up on his feet, and that's a first down. Rondé Barber just carrying him out to the 42-yard line. That may be the run of the ball game.
Huge run. Virginia had him stopped behind the line of scrimmage, or before the first down markers anyway, and he broke that tackle and almost broke it for the touchdown. Watch this. The pitch back, they've got 8 men up on defense waiting for the run. Look at the line of scrimmage. The white jerseys push the blue jerseys back. Then you miss the tackle here because Poindexter doesn't wrap his arms. And now you got the little guys. You got Barber and Rowe trying to bring him down, and he carries them 10 yards.
That's a 23-yard gain, and Virginia had him stopped. That was just the effort of Raymond Priester. 147 and counting. Dunnigan, they're trying to wrestle the ball from him.
All right, now they've got to start stopping the clock. Virginia's got to start stopping the clock because now they're down to 1:35. Still don't take the timeout.
Tommy West's offense has really been able to run the football in the second half against the defense of Rick Lance. The ball out to the 45-yard line.
Well, this game has had everything. Snow, winds, fumbles, penalties, big plays, great plays.
Second and 6. Kelton Dunnigan a run up to the 48-yard line of Virginia. He may have another first down for Clemson, and he does.
And I think that may do it. That could do it with 1:01 left. The clock stops to move the chains. The Tigers are going to upset Virginia here. 1:01 to go. Virginia still needs a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, but they've got to get the ball back from Clemson, and that first down right there could put a stake through the heart. Clock continues to move, and I will guarantee you Clemson is in absolutely no hurry. Nealon Green, an experienced junior, will watch the play clock, which is down to 4. He's got to snap it now.
Dunnigan fights his way to about the 44-yard line. And Virginia will call a timeout with 31 seconds left in this game. Clemson started the year losing 3 of their first 5 games. They have won 3 in a row, and they're on the verge of winning their 4th straight in a season that's had many ups and downs. Rick Lance trying to figure out where it went wrong today. They just were not able to stop the Clemson running game in the second half.
You know, Rick Lance, the defensive coordinator, had the right defenses called back here when this drive started, and he had plenty of time left on the clock to give it back to George Welsh and Tom O'Brien and Prevac, the offensive coaches. But his guys did not wrap. They made contact where they should have, but didn't wrap. Clemson broke the tackles, got the first downs. Consequently, they still have the ball, and it melted the clock to 31 seconds.
Clemson with 267 yards on the ground. Raymond Priester, a couple of big runs on this drive. And Kelton Dunnigan, a senior out of Sumter, South Carolina. For Tommy West, some big runs on this drive as well. And he had the 54-yard touchdown here in the 4th quarter. Well, Tommy West has been under a lot of pressure throughout the season. This should lift some of that off his shoulders.
Boy, his clubs have played well late in the season, too. He won 3 of the last 4 in 94. 95, he won the last 5. Now he's won 3 in a row, and he's about to go to 4 in a row here in 96.
Nealon Green kneeling down on the turf.
That'll go to 25 seconds, and I don't know why Virginia's not taking a timeout. They finally do.
Yeah, they tried to, and they didn't get it right away.
Boy, 16-4 in the month of November in the 90s. That's Clemson. They're about to go to 17-4. They do well in the month of November.
Now, tomorrow we take you to the island of Maui. Not a bad place for the final round of the Lincoln Mercury Kapalua International. Steve Jones, the leader after 3 rounds. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Central. That's tomorrow right here on ABC Sports.
Oh, I have played those courses up at Kapalua. They are magnificent. Of course, I didn't play them like those guys.
You didn't play them well, but you played them.
I mean, that's a different game. Same sport, different game.
Timmy, this is a huge game in the ACC. Clemson and Virginia tied for 3rd place, and Clemson will have a hold of that all by themselves. Virginia, if they had won today, a realistic shot at taking 2nd place with a win over North Carolina next week. That's not going to happen.
Well, that's it right there. There is absolutely no way Virginia can stop the clock now. Surprised yesterday when I read an article that said Tommy West's job was on the line. but it evidently was. They said he had to win, and he does. He continues to win big in November. Tommy West, boy, what a job he has done and the adversity he's overcome with everything that's taken place in the offseason off the field.
And George Welch's club had lost to Georgia Tech and Florida State, 2 very close games. Now loses for the 3rd time this year. And maybe a surprise for many people who follow the ACC, because here at home, most expected Virginia to come out playing well, and they struggled early and they turned the ball over 3 times in the first half, and that was really the story. That set the stage, Tim.
George Welch, quiet, matter-of-fact guy, succinct, and he seemed a little bit tight when we talked to him yesterday.
And Lewis Johnson is down on the field with a very happy Tommy West right now. Lewis, go ahead.
That's right, he is happy. Coach West, congratulations. You talked early in the game that you had to win the turnover game here, and you're able to do that. Talk about that for a second.
Well, it was big in the first half, and then we had the turnover in the second half that really kind of let them start getting back in the thing. But we knew coming in that we couldn't turn the ball over.
All right, this game was not over early in the 4th quarter, but your running game just took off, and huge touchdown run. Talk about that one for a second.
Well, it was a good job by our line, and then Kelton's got good speed at fullback. But yeah, I think the key was that our kids have done a great job, and they wouldn't be denied.
All right, congratulations, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Timmy. Sir.
All right, Lewis. So a 24-16 win on the road for the Clemson Tigers, and the Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. Kelton Dunnigan, a career-high 123 yards on 13 carries, and Tim Sherman, who threw for 346 yards, tying a Virginia record. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund, reward outstanding students for their academic achievements, and to assist those in financial need. It's been a Chevrolet tradition for more than a quarter of a century. And the Tigers don't want to go home. They're still on the field. You look at the ACC standings after today's action. They are in 3rd place all by themselves. Only 2 losses in the conference, and Virginia falling to 4-3 and 6-3 overall. So a key game in the ACC, the 24-16 win by the Clemson Tigers. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report, scores and highlights from around the country. The final here in Charlottesville, Virginia, Clemson, with a win on the road, 24-16. They came into this game as huge underdogs, and they pull off the upset over the Cavaliers, a club that was ranked 15th coming into this ball game. And Timmy, even in defeat, a gutty effort by Tim Sherman. He threw for a school record, and on the ground, he did a lot as well. This time getting to the end zone, it looked like you didn't have a shot.
He had a tremendous ball game. As a matter of fact, he was the guy who ran for more yards today, came up with bigger plays than actually Tiki Barber, whose streak of 100-yard games was broken. He only had 82 today, but I'm telling you, the run that put this thing to bed was this one right here. Here comes Dunnigan. Dunnigan, of course, in there for Emery Smith, who's banged up with a bad shoulder. They ran the option. The linebacker Ferrier took the option man, left the run open off the corner, and Dunnigan took it all the way. And that ended this ball game for all intents and purposes.
54 yards and a career-high 123 yards on the day for Kelton Dunnigan. You look at the game stats, remember how uneven the total yards were at the end of the first half. Virginia with 462 and Clemson with 310. Much of that due to the fact that Clemson had great field position in the first half after the turnovers.
No, but here was the ball game. Virginia put themselves in a hole with 3 turnovers, 5 sacks, 1 missed field goal, and 3 penalties going into the second half. And when that happened, they were already in a hole. Tiki Barber was struggling today, and for the first time all year, he doesn't go over 100 yards. He has 82, so his streak is broken. So things just weren't going right for Virginia today, and give a lot of credit to the Tigers of Clemson that came in ready to play.
They pull off the upset on the road, 24-16. For Lewis Johnson and Tim Brandt, I'm Terry Gannon. Thanks for watching. So long from Charlottesville.